the problem with AI is it's moving so fast that if you're not caught up, if you're not aware of the application of the newest tools and which ones are valuable, which ones aren't, you're going to have a lot of regret in a very short period of time. People have to look at is you don't need to start waking up every morning and going, oh my gosh, the models and systems and ways that I know I get business are changing. It's not. It's just modernizing those strategies. So don't freak out. Don't lose your head. Keep doing the same things. Just do them smarter and do them better. A shitty lead at the top of the funnel is really just a lead that either doesn't know what they're looking for or didn't find what they're looking for in you.
We know all real estate agents want to acquire clients consistently so that they can grow their business and income for that great lifestyle. This broadcast brings you the best and top people in the industry to support that quest. This is Dave Fanale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and Align, your premier real estate solution. Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Dave Fanale. This is Real Estate Talk TGIF, episode 376. I am so happy that we get to do this broadcast every week. I get to do it, and I keep doing it. I'm going to show up. When I started this broadcast, I said, I can show up every week, and I have for 371 weeks in a row. Missed one Friday. One Friday, I did it the Saturday, every week. Today's guest is not here for small talk. He's here to torture excuses about follow-up. Riley Vanderkay, the CEO and co-founder of Speculo.ai, built a real estate AI that calls, qualifies, books, leads faster than you can freaking blink. While setting his sights on shaking Zillow's throne, get ready for some speed, domination, and serious game-changing stuff to hear. Also understand that this can kill your prospecting. This is the smartest AI you can think of. And this guy was just voted by Forbes 30 under 30. I believe that's what it is. Did I read that right? Yeah. Recognized on Forbes 30 under 30 for 2025 as founder. Hey, man, Riley Vanderkay, let's rock, baby. How you doing?
Dude, I'm excited, man. I love these conversations. I love talking about AI, so I'm ready to dive into it.
So anyway, man, I start this broadcast with one question. I finished it with another question. And the first question I have to ask you has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with this broadcast. What does TGIF stand for?
Thank God it's Friday.
You are so close, man. I want to thank you for giving that God's honest try. It means thank God it's finale, especially today.
Okay, fair enough.
Finale. So
I should have thought about that. You're right.
It's okay, man. It's okay. 90% of the people get it wrong. The ones that get it right are either friends of mine. I have friends of mine that come on, they don't get it right. I don't understand. Anyway, man, look, we boosted. We talked about your AI. We've talked about everything. We're really excited about this conversation because we have Carrie Sauvé on. We've had Nick Krem on. We've had a lot of different people talking about AI over the years, but you're going to be talking about a little something different. So first of all, give me your story. Give me your journey. How you got from the beginning to today.
Yeah. Wow. I'm going to take it all the way back, man. So when I was a young kid, my grandfather started an advertising company in newspaper and print. And then my dad started an advertising company in TV and radio. And so I grew up in that space. I was always around advertising, always around business. And it's kind of an interesting, my ties back to real estate are in the 08-09 timeframe where we dealt with some unfortunate events. My dad lost his company. We dealt with some troubling situations as a family. And so I got into the business world. I was about 10, 11 years old. So around that time, I started to learn the value of money, the value of business, and the value of the exchange between the two. And over, the whole time frame of my childhood from 10 years old till now, I've just been kind of honing in on that business experience, understanding how to create an environment where there's commerce and share had between buyers and sellers of any products or services. And real estate is that in a nutshell, right? So not only do I have the emotional side of real estate from the experience my family had, but also on top of it, just what it kind of forced me into to grow inside of business. So throughout that entire experience, man, I've kind of set my sights on one goal for my life, which is to relieve 1 million people from regret. And the thing that I love most about real estate is that in real estate specifically, you're pretty much dealing with entrepreneurs at every level. Everyone's an entrepreneur in real estate, right? And I think that there's a lot that entrepreneurs go through and learn as they grow and as they expand their businesses over time. And I think that the piece of regret falls in with AI because it's moving so damn fast and people are so confused about how to apply it into their business and what's going to be valuable. And so I think it just helps me align with what we're trying to achieve with our business and also what I'm trying to achieve as a person in general in my own life mission.
So when you talk about save 1 million people from regret, you just used AI as the example. Talk to me a little bit more about that, because that's really a really cool goal. So talk to me about that. Because regret, let me just say that what I say to agents is when I'm trying to get them to do something, I say the feeling of discipline is far better than that feeling of regret. Because we're talking about that in a way.
Yeah, well, what we're more so than anything talking about, I believe regret comes from two places. One, it comes from the inability to accept the outcome of an action, or it comes from the inability to take an action, right? It's one of those two scenarios. And whether it ties to AI or it ties to entrepreneurship, again, the thing that I love about real estate is everyone's an entrepreneur. So to me, what that means for my business and what I do is I'm really, really focused on education, right? I'm really focused on helping people relieve the questions, the concerns, the overall, all those things fall into one bucket, which is regret, around making the decisions to scale their business and grow their business, because we're at a pivotal time in the industry where some people are losing so slow they still think they're winning. And the problem with AI is it's moving so fast that if you're not caught up, if you're not aware of the application of the newest tools and which ones are valuable, which ones aren't, you're going to have a lot of regret in a very short period of time. So that's really what it means to me.
Yeah. For me, what you've just said is really important, because there's a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of negative talk and a lot of negative self-talk. And I talk, to a lot of people. There's one individual that I talk to on a daily basis about self-talk and negative self-talk, and brings up, there's just this fucking constant feeling of regret that people have, and it's not necessary. And look, I'm a victim of that as well. I've victimed myself. I've done it to myself. We all do it to ourselves. Like you say, oh, what an idiot. I mean, that's negative self-talk, but some people think it's harmless. What AI has done for me is it's given me more confidence to be able to talk to things, to talk about things. This broadcast, for instance, you and I met a couple of times, once in person, once on a Zoom, and we didn't have a relationship, but we knew each other. We respected each other for what we were doing, right?
Yeah, of course.
And then we spoke before, and then we built a little bit of a relationship. But let's face it, in 15 minutes or 20 minutes, you can't really get to know someone. AI has helped me get to know you a little bit better, know a little bit insight when you ask it the right questions. And it's really never a wrong question to ask it. It's just, manipulate your conversations to understand a little bit more about people. I mean, and that's where my intro came from today. Basically, this is how I talk. I mean, I talk in a certain way, and I've trained AI to talk like me, right? To understand me, right? And it's also a good friend to have because it boosts you up and tells you, good job, 100%. It's really cool. Anyway, so let's talk about the lead process, the nurture process, what you're doing with it, how you got started into the AI portion of it, and how it works.
Well, when we first started, kind of the second part of the story here is when I was in college as a bartender. And so I bartended my way through school. That's how I paid my way. And when I was bartending near the end of COVID, I graduated in the middle of COVID, right when it started in 2020, in May. And during that time, the bars and restaurants that I was working in with the ownership group kind of came to us and said, hey, who here could help us, bolster up our offerings, get more people in the door, help us kind of expose our brand more because of what's happening with COVID. And so I just said, I'll raise my hand, I'll try it out and see what I can do. And I started working with the local service bar and restaurant space in Columbus, Ohio. And after I did that for a little bit, we decided to actually establish a company, my partner and I, Kyle, and we started working with other local service businesses. So we had this niche in local service, and it was all about brand exposure, PPC leads, social media advertising. That was, 5-6 years ago. And so what ended up happening in a nutshell was we had an insurance agent who was a great client of ours. His wife was a big team with KW at the time, and we connected with her. She'd give us a shot, and in a very short period of time, we made her a very large amount of money. And it was kind of one of those situations where we thought, well, we got lucky with this one. Great, real estate could be a good idea for us, and we just thought we'll just keep doing what we're doing with the company now. And she came to us specifically and said, you guys should really hone in on real estate because there's not a lot of people that can generate this type of lead, right? And so she connected us with her coach. And a year later, we had close to 100 teams, agents across the country using us specifically for PPC advertising, and then a little bit of like CRM setups and integrations, right? Before the AI world. So we would help stitch together CRMs, and we would generate leads and build workflows where people had nurture campaigns and all that stuff. So that was kind of the entrance into it. What we realized very quickly was we were giving people a problem that we couldn't solve. And that was a mentor of mine told me that. He said, you only give people a problem that you can help them solve or that they can solve themselves. You don't want to give people a problem that they can't solve, because that's where your business has churn. And so we were generating these great leads, but what do we know is a problem that happens with a lot of real estate teams and agents. They either have a skills problem or a activity problem, doing the activities to close business or having the skills to close business, right? And so a lot of the teams we'd work with would come back to us, and anytime we'd lose a client, a lot of the time it was, hey, you guys are doing your job. I just can't get my agents to call the leads, right? And so for a while we were like, all right, no big deal. We'll just go find the teams that can. Well, that's a small set of teams in the United States. And so what we realized was we needed to come up with a solution. So we tried the offshore ISA solution. We tried the onshore ISA solution, and we realized that they had the same problem, right? ISAs are expensive. ISAs are talented, but very few and far between you'll find the talented ones. And if they are talented, they end up leaving because they know they can make more money as an agent or somewhere else, right? And so what we did was we turned to AI, and that was where our partner Bobby comes in. So Bobby Moats. And Bobby used to be the director of labs at KWRI. He ran a big team in Texas, 65 agents, 10 ISAs, and he saw the exact same thing. He was generating a ton of leads, and he couldn't get his ISAs to churn the way that they needed to. Convert the way that they needed to, so they were churning. And he created this AI voice concept. And at the time, it was just a stitched together tool, right? It was just trying to create some type of outcome with voice conversation, and that was it. So we ended up connecting with him. Within 1 week of understanding his product, we decided we were going to merge that into Speculo. And that's what turned the Speculo group into Speculo.ai. And so that's where we really got into the AI space. And since then, man, we've just been innovating. We've been trying to ride the wave with all the new exciting stuff happening and make sure that the products the products and features we're developing are relevant, not only now, but in the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay, man. So we talked about the things you talked about that hit me. Skills or activity problem. We use the word, I don't know if you use the word or not, but discipline is another word, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think discipline is a skill that's learned. And honestly, up until a few years ago, discipline was, for me, it was two things. Of course, for everybody, it's two things. It's, you're disciplined when you're bad, right, as a child, and you're disciplined to get the work done. Like, this is it. Nothing's getting in your way. Discipline can mean focus as well. And that is a learned skill. Okay. That is absolutely a learned skill. And the way people are not able to be disciplined is because they haven't learned what they have to do. They think they can go out and do what they have to do because as they were growing up, look, this is not my generation, but they're growing up telling how great they are and they're doing fucking great with everything. They realize they don't have any fucking skills whatsoever, right? Yes. And they think that they can read a script to get on the phone. When they get on the phone, it's like, holy shit, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I can't talk to these people. I don't want to talk to them. They're going to yell at me, yada, yada, yada. But what we don't understand is practice is really important, and practice will build your skills. So it's a skill problem, and when you get the skills, then it's actually taking the action, the activity issue to get going. You mentioned that you had ISAs that couldn't convert. There was ISAs that couldn't convert the leads. But if they're on the phone and they're not converting, they suck as an ISA, right?
Yes and no. I would argue that part of the reason why there's a lack of conversion in my experience, right? I mean, I'm sure there's ISAs out there that are outstanding. If there's some listening right now, more, kudos to you if you're converting the way you need to. But I think one of the biggest things is in today's day and age, especially what AI has given us, and this is where we really hone in on the psychology of the consumer, not just our client. Yep. The consumer wants information faster than ever before, right? Yep. And so if you go on a phone call with somebody and you don't know the property they were looking at, every single detail about that property, and you know how to answer the questions that they're going to ask you to get them across the finish line, then that's where I start to see conversion go down with humans compared to AI, right? And then there's the next level of that conversation, which is you're never going to convince somebody to buy or sell a house now. You're only going to support them across their journey to get to that point. And what do they need in that journey? Information, right? Knowledge, support. And so the speed you can get them that information and the accuracy you can get them that information is where you win in comparison to somebody else.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense, right? Yeah. So let's talk about some of the systems and stuff that you use. So you actually will go into CRMs and you'll nurture leads. Talk to me about that, how that started, how that works, and how an agent can take advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the early days when we first started, and this goes back to one of the points I was just making, we were just scripting the AI, right? And we were just saying, hey, if they say this, say that. If they say something like this, say something like that, with no real information. And so what we've developed recently and what is kind of our biggest flagship product is what we call Remy. And Remy is a brain. And what Remy is she will sync with, let's use Follow Up Boss, for example, right? I'm a big fan of Follow Up Boss. A lot of people are a big fan of Follow Up Boss, great CRM. So what we'll do is we'll do an easy sync with their API into Follow Up Boss, and instantly, right, over the entire database of contacts, she will begin creating memory stacks for each individual contact with every single tag, note, property view, activity record, everything inside of that individual contact record in the Follow Up Boss CRM. She'll create memories for it. And so the way that a team utilizes this is you instantly have a team member that knows everything about every client, what stage they're in, what houses you've sold them in the past, how many times they've interacted with you, what they're looking for in e-alerts, all that stuff. And then that's when she begins her outbound communication, informing those leads about the new properties that hit the MLS that are relevant to their search, home valuations on properties that they're interested in potentially selling, and just answering questions that they most likely have from interactions that they're having with agents off record, right, where agents are leaving notes, right? So that's where the memory really comes into play with the CRM nurture piece specifically.
So it actually goes into your CRM, reads everything that you've done with them, your conversations, everything with Follow Up Boss. Okay, everything's there. Yeah. If you guys are not using Follow Up Boss, you're missing out.
For real.
I mean, I love it because I can go back. It records our conversations. I go back and look and see what I said, see if I missed anything. When I do a follow up, I look at it. But this is not about Follow Up Boss. This is about Speculo.ai. So there's got to be way that they does Remy separate the leads like from 90 days out, top of funnel to bottom of funnel? How is Remy doing that? How does your system operate that way?
Yeah, well, she just knows. So like think about, again, an ISA, right? A good ISA, somebody that you really want inside of your database is going to go in there and they're going to know the right conversation to have based off the information, the timeline that's been established, and move that lead closer down the funnel until we get them near the bottom where we then introduce an agent, right? Remy just knows that information. She's able to process that information based off the tags, the notes, all the information we have on that specific user. And she also will curate email campaigns to get that user, more information from the user. So like if we don't know a timeline, her initial approach is let me find the timeline by sending e-alerts, sending home valuations, making phone calls so I can identify the timeline and then begin categorizing the way she communicates moving forward.
So how are you, is it necessary? Are you able to integrate human ISAs with this as well and have them work together? How does that work?
I love integrating human ISAs. I think there's many scenarios in which you get like the thing we tell people all the time. Now let's just, even outside of our product, AI in general, all the products out there that are using AI, whether it's text, email, phone call, it could be AI to, give you propensity scores on the chances that somebody's going to sell property, whatever it is.
Right. Like Fellow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fellow. We love Fellow. Fellow's an outstanding product. When you're looking at those tools, what we tell people is it's not, and this is the classic issue that I think we find with some real estate agents, right? Not all of them. But what will happen is they will look at these products as a way to sell for them. Right? How do I get a lead that's just ready for me to go list their home? How do I get a lead that's just ready to go see a property tomorrow? Right? And in reality, these are really intelligent prospecting tools. And so the answer to your question, I think, is the AI will take the lead deeper in the funnel for you. And most importantly, enrich that contact with realistic information. That's where I think we separate is a lot of these platforms will aggregate data from public sources, private sources, whatever it might be, and give you a score, give you an idea of what this person might do at some point. We're actually calling the lead. We're doing that plus calling the lead, getting into the conversation with them, qualifying them with words that they're specifically speaking to us, recording the calls, transcribing them, summarizing them. So when agents go in there to follow up or ISAs go in there to follow up, they have contextual information to take that lead across the finish line to the appointment with the agent. So we actually love integrating with an ISA. I think in many cases, the ISA role is the one that's best going to use our product, right? The agent is, the right agent will use our product well. But most ISAs that we partner with and we let use our product the way they're supposed to, those are the teams that convert at the highest level. So
how do you not use this product well?
By expecting that your phone is just going to ring with a buyer or seller that's ready to go. Like if you just sit back and wait, right? There are live transfers. That's the cherry on the top, right? You'll get a live transfer, right? You'll get somebody that just the AI gets on the phone, qualifies, live transfers right to your hand, and you're ready to go. But really, the power of the tool is prospecting. It's the smartest prospecting tool in real estate, is what we like to say.
All right, man. So a lot of the fear over the years, like for instance, okay, so years ago, in my brokerage days, I used a product which used predictive analytics for sellers.
Yeah.
And it worked in some places in the country. Didn't really work that well in my area. What I've learned over the last 20, 30 years is that give it time and it freaking works. Meaning that the analytics really did work.
Yeah.
It's just that you needed the right people to follow up on it.
100% and time.
With we mentioned Fellow earlier, and Ryan's been on the broadcast, and the interesting part about that is that it gives you a propensity score. You used that phrase already, right?
Yeah.
Are you working hand in hand with something similar to that, or is it just it just reads everything and can figure it out?
Meaning, like, does Remy use a propensity scoring system?
Yeah.
Yes, she will. So what she'll do is basically understand everything about the contact and then begin curating outbound communication to the contacts that she believes are deeper in the funnel to get them closer to the end of the funnel and also to everybody else. Again, I think that's one of the biggest changes is that it's like, if you have 10,000 contacts in your database, Remy begins communicating with those 10,000 contacts in the place that they're at with one singular goal, which is get them deeper in the funnel, which is into the hands of the ISA or the agent to then convert into an actual closing, right? So she uses propensity inside of her own brain, right, to understand the propensity scores of the lead to take an activity at what time frame. And then on top of that, we do present that information on the front end for agents to see as well.
So this allows agents to make more money, get more deals, et cetera. So talk to me about when you're at top of funnel. Let's talk about that first, okay? Because look, I've been around when all this internet stuff started, where we used Google and we called it pay-per-click, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I used that years ago. I was paying 3 to 5 cents a click for the major names, right, when it first started. And the shit started back then where agents would say that these leads don't work, they suck, etc. So if we and basically we're talking top of funnel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so how will Speculo.ai will it take that top of funnel lead that sucks, put that in quotes, right, and nurture it or throw it away? Does it separate and sort?
She'll find what they need. That's at the end of the day, again, let's even just outside of our product, if we just look at the term funnel, right? The term funnel, and there's so many people out there that have completely mastered the approach to creating a funnel. And one of the things that a lot of those people say, I follow a guy named Russell Brunson. We all know that guy. He's a big funnel guy, right? Like there's a lot of people in that world talking about funnels. And what I love most about what they say is it all just comes back to one thing, which is information. The tonic of a funnel that gets leads deeper down in the funnel is information. How fast can you get somebody the information they want and press the button that they need you to press, right? A shitty lead at the top of the funnel is really just a lead that either doesn't know what they're looking for or didn't find what they're looking for in you. That's it, right? And so that's all you've got to do to take a lead deeper in the funnel is find what they need from you or what they're looking for and give it to them, not convince them that they're deeper than they are. Right. It's just give them the information. That's it.
So what you just said is probably a game changer to some people who heard it the right way. Why do I say that? Because basically top of funnel to getting them to a deal is basically all information. Okay. So there are these looky-loos, right? There are people that, well, no, I didn't mean to click on that. And some people really just want to look at the inside of homes. They're not looking to buy anything.
Yeah.
Can you tell the difference there?
Yes, but I also don't, I don't buy into that. I think that's just an objection, right? If somebody's looking at a house, if somebody's going on the internet to look at a house, if they're Googling homes for sale near me or homes with a pool or whatever they're looking for, right? Or they're just shopping around, they have some level of intent. It could be 0.001% out of 100 intent, or it could be 99% intent, and they're really good at giving you objections, right? It could be either one. But I don't buy into this is simply just a looky-loo who wants to look at the internet and has zero intent to potentially buy a house, right? I think what it really is somebody who's at a very top of funnel stage because they don't know what they should be looking for, or you don't know what they're actually looking for. And that's where the disconnect happens, when leads just give you objections and agents hang up the phone and they throw it to the side and act like it's a shit lead when it's not. It's just a lead who's reaching out for information that maybe they don't know what to look for.
So I've always qualified leads in three categories. One was they're ready to go, which means let's say 0 to 3 months, right? The next would be anywhere from 3 to 12 months. And the next would be 12 to 36 months. That's the way I always did it. And the thing about the 12 to 36 months is they could turn into 0 to 3 months, depending on a life occurrence or something like that. And if I'm hearing this correctly, and I know I am, it's the information that's getting them, aside from life happenings, right? Life experiences and things in life. It's the information that's going to get them from top to bottom. And basically, what we haven't done as leaders in the real estate industry, we really haven't either brought in the right people to do this or explain to them that the information is what is necessary. And Remy takes up all of that.
Yeah, well, it's yes. And if Remy will take over all of that, Remy will provide the knowledge, and even just AI in general, right? If you think about I've seen, there are some tools out there that I like. Maverick is a tool that I really like, right? Maverick is a super solid tool. And that is the opposite side. It's not giving the consumer any information. It's giving the agent information. So when the agent's on the phone, it's telling the agent, hey, this is probably what this person needs. This is probably what you need to say. This is the scripting. This is the approach. I think that's where AI is going to save us with some of these challenges. And I'm kind of going full circle here. The stages that you were talking about, I think that you always have to have stages for your approach. What information category are they in? I also think what's happening right now with AI is the aggregation of information and the speed at which we can access it as service providers in real estate is being changed to the point where those stages are becoming much wider, right? So when you look at a lead who says that they're 36 months out, there's a million reasons why that person could be 36 months out. And to your point, something could happen and they move to 2 weeks out where they got to make a decision fast, right? And I think when I say it's getting wider, it's the amount of information we can stack inside of why that person might be at that time frame versus what they need to move them deeper in the funnel is so much easier for us to access. Whether that's a simple tool like ChatGPT, that's Gemini on Google, that's what everybody's trying to go to. Why do you think that these tools are out there? Why do you think consumers are using ChatGPT to look for the top real estate agents in the area instead of Google? They want it faster, and they know ChatGPT can get it to them faster, right? So that's really the main idea.
Yeah. So I want to take a pause here real quick, and I want to remind everybody of something. So most of the people I know did not grow up in the 60s and 70s as I did. And I want you all to know one very important thing. There's movies out there now. There's still some type of shows and series called Star Trek. Okay.
Yeah.
I want people to go back into 1960s and watch the original episodes of Star Trek. You're going to see every fucking thing that's going on now was predicted back then, right? Yeah. And this is one of them, right? You go to computer and asks it a question and it talks back to them. You know, the only thing I have not seen yet, which I'm really excited about, which I know is going to happen, where I can go to something on the wall, punch in exactly what I want to eat, And then 3 seconds later, up goes the door, and there it is. That's what I. So look, if you guys can do that, I'm in.
That might be next. Who knows?
Right. So everybody needs to think about it. It's really crazy. I know it's really an aside from what we're talking about, but it's really important that this stuff is not a surprise to a lot of us. It really isn't, as it started. Automatic doors. You saw that in Star Trek. It never happened before.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so I'll reel it in. I'll bring it back.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the process for an agent or a team once they come to say, Riley, will you help us?
Well, it starts with the memory stack, right? It starts with creating the memories. That's the biggest thing. It starts with Remy learning everything about your database. Once she understands that, that's step one, right? That the first thing we tell people is we need to know everything about your database. We need to know everything about who's in there, what percentage of your database are buyers, what percentage are sellers, and what time frame, how many are past clients, how many are cold dead leads that you know absolutely nothing about, aka the stages that you were talking about, right? Once we begin to create those memory stacks about those stages, now Remy just goes to work, right? And the job of the team, the job of the agents is to engage with Remy as if she is a team member, right? Go inside of the tool and understand what Remy's doing, what she's gathering for you, what she's pointing out to you as a lead that you need to engage with, and then go engage. And the beauty of the way that people can engage is now it's not, and even if we just talk about scripting, right, for a second, now it's not a script that you have to go through and start to learn somebody's timeline or understand what they're looking for and try to qualify them on the phone. Instead, it's a follow-up call to simply introduce yourself because you already know all of that information from what Remy talked to them about on the phone, right? What Remy knows about them. And so your engagement with them is, hey, I'm just stepping in here to introduce myself as the person that can absolutely help you with the things that you were discussing with Remy, our teammate, right? And it just makes that engagement so much more relevant and so much more personable so that there isn't that wall up. And that just back to objections, right? Most consumers they just don't trust, and that's okay, right? Like that's the world that we've created in advertising and propaganda is people just don't trust it. They're hit with thousands and thousands of pieces of marketing material every day. Right. And so they kind of have that wall up and they're looking for, what does this person really want? What are they trying to sell me? What are they trying to get me to do? Right.
Yes.
And so when you can engage with somebody, and that's where AI is going to play a huge role. AI is the thing that people aren't afraid of because they want the faster information from this thing. And you said it earlier, you've got your best friend in AI, right? Like you said, it's a friend to have around. You mentioned that at the beginning of the podcast.
I did.
That friend has no intention other than to just give you the answers that you're asking for from it. That's it. There's no other intention.
There's no ego.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no need. There's no concept other than I've been asked a question. I'm going to go get the information and feed it back in the best way I possibly can. That's why people love Google. Google's the same way. Right. And so when we step in as service providers, if that person already has the information from what is a perceived teammate of ours, AKA Remy, now it's just an introduction and a support and a follow-up call to engage with that person and see what they want to do with the information that was given to us.
Okay, so there are skeptics in the world.
Yeah.
You've laid through the entire process. I've actually seen your product work over a few months, not recently, but I've seen it work.
Yeah,
I've worked with it. I've also worked with not Maverick, but systems that will actually role play with me as FSBOs, expires, as agents. I've used those products. Some of them can be a little clunky, but some of them are like really freaking spot on, right?
Yeah.
And they're really, really helpful. So that is never going to get an argument probably from a lot of people, but you're going to, what happens when you come across a potential client that says, well, I wanted to do this and I wanted to do that. I wanted to talk like me and I know more than it will ever know. Are there those people still out there? I call them legacy brokers. Are they still out there?
Yeah, definitely. They definitely are out there. And I mean, we've developed like fun little features. So, people can aggregate a knowledge base or a QA section on their website into Remy's brain. So she talks in the way you want her to, or she retains the brand equity that you want her to in the way you want to communicate, stuff like that. But my polite yet direct response to those types of things is the answers in the data, right? if you just look at the outcomes from what Remy's capable of doing, or again, outside of our product, if you just look at any AI product out there, the answer is in the data, right? So if you get somebody who comes in and says, I want it to do this, I want it to do that, I want it to be this way, I want it to be that way, my response is, well, let's look at what the current version is creating as an outcome. And if that is acceptable to you and worthy of your time and your investment, then let's move forward with this. If it's not, then I'll let you know when I can have the time to develop it the way that you want.
You know, as real as it is, as correct as it is, the answer is always in the data. And it's like an agent would come to me and say, Dave, I'm not getting the business I want. I'm not converting the way I want to. And I'm going to say, well, let's look at your CRM.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at your schedule. It's all there. I mean, the answer is all there. So they're not getting any leads. Okay, you might have to prospect more, or they're not getting the business after they get the lead. Well, that's a conversion problem, right?
Yeah.
Remy takes a lot of that away. What about the prospecting end? Is there a cold prospecting end to it?
Yes, through like other communication channels. We're talking a lot about voice, like we do offer email, stuff like that. Voice, no. You definitely don't want to go call a cold lead that you don't have full clarity on what the opt-in status is of that lead, because that's just going to get you in trouble, right? TCPA is a pretty serious thing. And I think AI voice is very litigious, but in a very specific way, right? If they don't have an opt-in for AI, don't call them. If they do have an opt-in for AI, you're fine until they opt out. It's that simple. So cold outreach, yes, in certain mediums of communication, but not in voice.
Okay. So in other words, what we're talking about is we all get them. I have this bad habit. People think it's a real bad habit. I answer every call that comes in, or I try to. Right? And, I answer the phone, I say hello, and you hear bloop. And then, it's either a recording or it's, it's a pen of people. Those recordings, are they AI or are they just recordings?
Dude, it's all over the ballpark. I don't know. I mean, there are some, I do the same thing because I want to know what's out there, right? Like I do it because I'm doing recon. And I'll pick up every phone call, and sometimes they're recordings, sometimes they're AI, other times I can't tell the difference. And that's a really, really strong AI voice product. And other times it's a call center somewhere, right? And there's very few times nowadays that I will pick up a phone call and it's a pure cold call from somebody that can have a real conversation with me, right? That is selling me a product that's either local or is something where I'm really engaging with the conversation with a person.
So, all right. So you've talked about rocking Zillow's boat. Okay. How does Speculo.ai do that?
It's a great question. I think when we're talking about rocking Zillow's boat, I think it's just owning the lead experience and owning the brand. I don't think that it's wise for anybody to try to say, hey, we're the portal killer, right? That's not a thing. Like portals are portals, and you're never going to beat them. They're too far ahead of that game, right? And I don't really think it's a game that should be played in real estate. I think there's this race right now to creating the end-to-end consumer experience for buying a home. And I think that's really awesome. And the real estate agent is always going to be a part of that process, right? I don't think AI will ever take the place of the personal engagement and advice that a human being like a real estate agent can provide. It will definitely be able to provide knowledge and information that the real estate agent doesn't have. But this is somebody's home, right? This is somebody's dream. This is somebody's life. This is the biggest investment most people ever make in their life, right? And I think that the agent themselves needs to start really thinking about, do they own the brand equity with that lead, or does somebody else own the brand equity with that lead? And they're simply just the service provider on the other end of the call, and they're always just going to be a salesperson for a portal. That's really why we're trying to rock the boat.
So, and I know exactly what you meant with that when I asked the question. I think there's a lot of people out there that think that, oh shit, this actually could replace me. And you just mentioned there's always going to be the need for that real estate agent in there, but is it less and less work? Is this type of artificial intelligence part of it? What's the word I want to use? Not take over, but is it taking over part of the existence of that agent and what they do?
I think that the best alignment in that answer is that that's exactly what Zillow's already done. So when you look at the Zillow model, when people are afraid of being replaced by AI, it's exactly what Zillow is doing, right? Like there is no engagement with the lead until that person's ready to go tour a house, or they just transfer that person over to you because they're interested in talking to an agent. And I think to your question, no, AI will never take over the actual agent need in this transaction, but the fear that AI is going to take over, but the lack of acknowledgement that there's already a product that so many agents are tied into that's literally doing that right now and already has done that with their brand equity. That's the best way I can answer the question, is that Zillow's already doing that. The brand equity, that's the biggest thing. It's the brand equity, right? If you look at the biggest teams in the country, they have repeat business, they have new business, they have brand equity and engagement with their community and with the people in their database, right? They're engaging with them, not other platforms that offer the exact same solution. So that's really where we say we're rocking the boat with what Zillow's doing, is that we all know it's not the writing's on the wall. Zillow is trying to replace the real estate agent. They're trying to turn them into glorified salespeople, right? And so what we're doing is basically saying, well, if you're afraid AI is going to do that, you should also just open up your eyes, hold up the mirror, and look at what's already being done and what you're already so dependent on that's doing that to you right now. Make the AI on your team. Get the AI on your team to do the same thing that somebody else is already doing that's not on your team.
And let's understand that it has to start somewhere for Remy to take over.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? It's not, Remy's not starting. That's why I asked the question about cold prospecting, right? Yeah. You know, one of the things I heard recently from a guy named David Choi, he says, if you can cold call and you can do it on a regular basis and you're not afraid of it, you will make more money than you ever thought possible if you could do that.
Yep.
Okay. And people say, well, you know what? There's so many freaking products out there. And I think there's only a really small group of people that really can do stuff without cold calling, because the things work for a little while and then they don't, you know? And I'm going to go back to a recent guest, Jesse Dowd, Channel Junkies for YouTube. I mean, what they have done is they have adapted through time. Since you and I met close to a year ago, you've adapted what you've done and you've improved it and increased its value. And you know what? I mean, when you read stuff about Speculo.ai, it promises up to 300% more opportunity, 14 times increase in lead response rate, and it's going to save agents 40 hours a week. Mm-hmm. Now, listen to this, right? So I have a very good friend of mine. His name's Grant Wise, and Grant hooked me into this one saying, right? There's a lot of agents out there that don't want to cold call. There's a lot of agents that suck at follow-up, or they go to follow-up and they miss it. I'm going to come out real here with full transparency. I screwed up 6 transactions. I lost 6 because I didn't follow up properly. If I had Remy doing it for me, I would have made a lot more money this year, right? I didn't have Remy doing it. I didn't do the job correctly. So why? Probably because I screwed up. A lot of agents do it because they don't know how or don't want to. And that saying I was going to use is, you can't blame a fish for their inability to climb a tree. Right? Think about it. You can't blame a fish for them not being able to climb a tree, because that's not what they're supposed to do, right? A real estate agent gets in the real estate business to sell real estate or help people. I help people buy homes. I help first, you know, all this glamour crap that they want to talk about in their bios and shit. But the point is that's what they do. That's what they want to do. They didn't get into it to cold call people. If you said, become a real estate agent and you will cold call 5 days a week, we would not have 1.5 million realtors. We would have about 400,000.
Exactly. Not even that, I would guess.
Right. So, I mean, because people don't understand what's involved. And when they get involved, so they get into a little bit, they start doing deals. They'll do 3 or 4 a year. But the ones that really they can't understand how they excel by doing 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 deals a year. Because they build the relationships from the start, the motivation and the momentum. Remy can build momentum for the agent by getting them going and giving them confidence. It's also a psychological tool, in my stupid way of looking at it, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about what's going next for Riley and Speculo.ai.
Well, I think one note on what you just said, that also what's coming next is I think the analogy on cold calling. One, that's how we started our company. We cold called all of our original clients that we still some have today, right? So cold calling is very near and dear to my heart, and cold calling is not scalable, right? And so that's where we really look at the difference in where I think Remy can supplement those low impact versus high impact activities, like cold calling, human engagement. That's a high impact activity. Remy does all the low impact stuff. Like I always am very clear on this whenever we're talking to a client or talking to a prospect, or again, just on a thing like this where we're not selling our product, we're talking about AI. AI in general is never going to take the role of a salesperson or a relationship builder. It's going to take the role of an information provider and the speed that consumers are expecting it, right? That's really where we see the value of the tool. So in general, moving forward, to answer your question on what's coming next for us, when it comes to like features and specific stuff, man, we're really trying to get into that omni-channel approach. We really want to create the tech stack that solves the main thing I see agents struggling with right now, which is tech fatigue. A lot of tech, a lot of different resources that aren't doing the holistic experience for people, right? And so we're really invested in creating that stack that's kind of the one stack solution to everything that you need, from a website, IDX, home value tool, to all forms of communication, email, phone call, text, and then the tools that connect agents accordingly to the leads that they need to be talking to. And then more than anything, what's coming next for us is we're really focused on taking this to the single agent, right? When I look at the single agent, or even in the brokerage solution, when you look at a brokerage, I used to own a brokerage. And during that time, a very small number of my agents were producing the money that the brokerage was collecting, or the team, right? If you look at a team that has 80 agents on it, the probability that the volume of that team that's produced is produced by 20% or less of the agents in it is fairly high. And that always comes back to skills, activities, and then the third thing, which is database. And so we're really focused on saying, how do we produce an outcome for a 500 contact database the same way that we produce an outcome for a 500,000 contact database or 50,000 contact database, and really enrich those contacts effectively and do it in a way that's cost effective for the agent, right? So that's really what I think is coming next for us. And then in terms of just tech, man, I think I would be a fool to say that I know what's coming next in the AI space. We're much more focused on just being available and being ready to digest the knowledge and the new advancements, because nobody knows. Even the guys building it don't know what's happening next, right? So we're really focused on just taking in the knowledge and pivoting accordingly and educating a ton of people about it.
It sounds amazing. I think about this all the time. About 6 or so years ago, when I started this broadcast, I had a guy on this broadcast. I think some people may have heard of him, Tom Ferry. And one of the things I asked him was, what's next? What's the next disruptor? And I prefaced it with, Zillow was a disruptor when it first came in, and we got all this stuff happening. What's the next disruptor? Tom's answer was, really, I don't really see anything out there that's going to disrupt the industry at all. And then here we are 6 or 7 years later, or probably six and a half years later, that we've got all of these changes over the last couple of years. So many disruptors, lawsuits, along with technology where you're in. And it's just, I don't believe that it's a disruptor for the industry. I think it's an improvement for the industry, right? I think it's an improvement where when people start using it, they can really do a much better job in doing what they say they want to do, is help people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I think what you've done is you become a facilitator for agents to be able to help more people, the ones that are going to look at it and say, okay, this makes sense. Is this more for teams than just agents? I mean, you just addressed that a little bit. So just hit that a little bit for me.
This is for, honestly, man, this is for everybody. Like that's really what we're trying. And now, there's a classic saying, if you try to be everything for everybody or nothing for anybody. And so I would say that the best users, that historically speaking, think about any product or any service in the real estate space, the best users are the big teams that have already gone through the hell and fire to build a real organization in real estate and not just be a sole agent by themselves, right? And I do think that there's a lot of really great agents out there that don't have the goals or aspire to be the mega team. They just want to help people sell houses. And really what we're focused on, I guess a better answer to the question you asked me before, is this is for the consumer. This is for the consumer. The agent is the person that uses this product, but I want the agent to look at AI. The thing that we really preach is, don't look at the product as a way for you to sell more houses. Look at the product as primarily a way for you to help support your database and your customers better. And inherently, you're going to end up selling more houses, right? So we're building products for the consumer. How are we giving them information in a more efficient way and connecting them with the right information faster? That's really the main focus for us going forward. And so I guess the answer to your question is, this is for the user that wants to service their database and service their community at a higher level, the way that consumers are demanding from every business in their ecosystem today.
Yeah, and I want to say that, one of the great things about this is that you really put it so well before, and it's like it's making my head spin a little bit in a great way. The funnel from top to bottom is just a matter of information, and it kind of takes, if you look at prospecting and you look at follow up and you look at it and say, okay, well, all I have to do is get them the right information. But how do we get them the right information? Getting people the right information is really simple. It's not what we tell them; it's what we ask them.
Yes, I do. My coach just told me, that's so funny you just said that. I started reading this new book, I think it's called The Road Less Stupid. And it's basically, the book is about that. It's literally about leadership, sales, any type of engagement, relationship building, charisma, all that stuff, all of those features of human interaction. It's just about asking the right question, right? And again, I think what AI is allowing us to do is know the question that the consumer is asking, or find it faster, right? Again, I almost feel like I'm kind of a broken record. Like that is the key. The key is information at a pace that matches what the consumer is looking for and when. That is it. And AI is changing that landscape. So that's the disruptor. Like you were talking about asking Tom that question. That's the disruptor. AI is in every corner.
And Remy, AI is doing this without ego. So it's not like I'm the best, I'm the number one agent, all this other bullshit, right? Yeah. And it's doing it without ego, and it's doing it with, how can I really help the person? There's almost like this sincerity soul in what you guys are doing with Remy, et cetera, et cetera. The Road Less Stupid sounds like a great book.
It is.
Because look, the hardest part for most agents is to have the skill and the knowledge and the preparation to do what they need to do to get that lead. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm willing to help people do that. You're willing to help them follow up. What a great team.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway, so hey man, we're a little over on the typical time, which is fine. Nice. I got just things for you. Is there anything that you would like to bring forward that I have not asked you or talked to you about that you want to talk about and you want to offer out?
No, I think the thing that I always want most importantly for agents to hear when we speak or when we educate is the information piece. That was the one that we really hit home. Other than that, it's understanding that the consumer is changing. The tech industry, the way that people are, the best way to describe it, I guess, in a nutshell, is the way that we get business has not changed. It's the mediums inside of the way we get business that are changing. It's kind of that second underneath layer. We're still getting business from the internet. We're still getting business from community events. We're still getting business from engaging with our database. But the way that the consumers are expecting that information to be delivered and the way that they're expecting it from you specifically, the pace, the accuracy, and the engagement with specific tools, that's what's changing. And so I think what people have to look at is, you don't need to start waking up every morning and going, oh my gosh, the models and systems and ways that I know I get business are changing. It's not. It's just modernizing those strategies. So don't freak out. Don't lose your head. Keep doing the same things. Just do them smarter and do them better and do them the way your consumers are expecting from you. That's the way we always like to help people understand where tech and where AI is going to be. It's about the consumer, not you.
Yeah, and I want to throw in one other thing that we didn't even talk about, and most people are going to ask us, well, it's going to sound like a computer calling somebody. No, it doesn't.
I remember the first time you talked to her, you gave her you told me, you said, I'm going to treat her like a New Jersey communicator, like I'm going to treat her this way. And you just gave her the hardest time and she handled it well and just kind of had the conversation with you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that was a great way to get into it, man. Hey, man.
Yeah.
No, that was fun that day. I remember that. Hey, man, thank you so much for being on. I got a couple of things and then we're done. The first question I have for you, last question I have for you is, how can I help you grow your business?
I think keep talking to the AI like a New Jersey person. That would help us to figure out how to script or no. But jokes aside, no, man, I think it's this kind of stuff. It's education, right? It's getting out there, telling people, showing people what AI can do and what it can't do, and educating people. I think that's the best way that anybody can help our business is spreading the knowledge that we're really trying to spread ourselves.
Yeah. And the important thing here is that, look, everything is different all over the place. And that's where your database comes in. And that's where the information in your database is helpful to a product such as this. You know, there's difficult areas in the country where different types of tech doesn't work, you know, or it doesn't work that well, or it's changing, right? Typically, you know, the New York metropolitan area is tough because we're cynical, we're bastards, we're arrogant, we're all those kinds of things. Everything you hear, we are. Because we mostly came from Italy, so that's we're all arrogant from there. Anyway, from Sicily, actually. But anyway, that's not a derogatory comment about Italians. I'm Italian. That's it. Anyway, but New York metropolitan area typically is tough, and it hasn't been tough with this. It works. Anyway, let's see what else. Oh yeah, I forgot. Next week, guys, we've got Vernon Williams III coming on, performance coach, real estate advisor. That's going to be a rocking show. We're going to talk about coaching. We're talking about intensity and a lot of other things. Hey, man, I want to thank you so much for being on. Your Instagram is on the screen. Your contact info is on the screen. I just have one last thing, man. And thanks for being on. And guess what? The hat's coming out, man. And I'm gonna put one on top of you. Is once you get this, you need to send me one of those.
All right, hands down, I will. 100%. I love it.
All right, man. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. Have a great. For me, this is a holiday weekend. And if you want to know why, check me out on social. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much. God bless you all. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Riley. Stay on for a minute as we finish. See you, everybody.